Hello, especially for the Dirty Secrets channel.
Samantha rolled over in bed, the blue glow of a phone screen interrupting the darkness. It was the third night this week she'd woken to find Jason sitting up, thumbs dancing across his phone, his face illuminated by an unnatural light. "Who are you texting at 2 a.m.?" she asked, her voice thick with sleep. Jason startled, quickly locking his screen. "Just Mike about the basketball game. Go back to sleep, babe." But as Samantha closed her eyes, pretending to drift off, she noticed how Jason's shoulders remained tense, how he angled the phone away from her. Something in his posture felt defensive, protective of whatever conversation was happening in those late hours. The next morning, as they moved around each other in their familiar rhythm, Jason making coffee while Samantha prepared breakfast, she casually asked, "How's Mike doing?" "You guys were texting pretty late." Jason froze momentarily, the coffee pot suspended mid-pour. "Mike? Oh yeah, he's good. Just excited about the Lakers' win." He quickly changed the subject. "Are you still meeting Chloe for lunch today?" Samantha nodded, noting how his eyes wouldn't quite meet hers. They'd been together for 3 years, living in their small apartment for one, and she knew Jason's tells. The slight twitch at the corner of his mouth, the way he suddenly became very interested in stirring his coffee, something wasn't right. That night, when Jason's phone chimed with a message during dinner, his dive to grab it before she could see the screen confirmed her growing suspicions. Whatever was happening, whoever was on the other end of those messages, it wasn't Mike. Cafe was busy for a Tuesday afternoon, but Chloe had managed to snag their favorite corner table. Samantha spotted her best friend's familiar blonde ponytail and waved as she navigated between tables. "Hey, I ordered your usual," Chloe said, sliding a latte across the table as Samantha sat down. "You're the best," Samantha replied, taking a grateful sip. "God, I needed this. Work has been insane, and Jason's been acting weird lately." Change was subtle but unmistakable. Chloe's smile faltered, her fingers suddenly busy adjusting her napkin, smoothing it repeatedly against the tabletop. "Weird how?" Chloe asked, her voice pitched slightly higher than normal. "He's been secretive with his phone, texting at all hours. I'm probably overthinking it, but—" "You're definitely overthinking," Chloe interrupted, a nervous laugh escaping her. "Jason adores you. You know how guys get with their fantasy leagues and sports stuff." Samantha frowned. "I never mentioned sports." "Oh, I just assumed," Chloe said quickly, then glanced at her watch. "Shoot, I have to get back to work soon. Let's talk about something else. How's your mom doing after her surgery?" Throughout lunch, Samantha noticed how Chloe steered the conversation away from Jason every time his name came up. How her best friend since college, the woman who normally analyzed every detail of their relationships together, suddenly had nothing to say about Jason's behavior. As they hugged goodbye, Chloe held on a beat too long. "You know I love you, right, Sam? You're like a sister to me." Something in her tone made Samantha's stomach tighten. It sounded almost like guilt. Saturday morning, Jason left early for what he claimed was a pickup basketball game. Samantha, still in her pajamas, realized his gym bag was still in the closet. Frowning, she grabbed her keys and headed to the parking lot, hoping to catch him before he left. Jason's car was still there, but he wasn't inside. As she approached, she saw him returning from the apartment building's garbage area, something clutched in his hand. "Hey," she called, "you forgot your gym bag." Jason's eyes widened momentarily before he composed himself. "Thanks, babe. I was just checking the tire pressure. Felt a little low yesterday." Samantha nodded, noticing how he slipped whatever he was holding into his pocket. "I'll grab my bag and head out. Don't wait up for dinner, might grab drinks with the guys after." After he drove away, Samantha stood in the parking lot, an uneasy feeling settling over her. She'd seen no tire gauge in his hand. That afternoon, she remembered Jason had asked her to grab his sunglasses from the car earlier in the week. With a sense of purpose that felt both justified and shameful, she went to his car, using the spare key he'd given her. The sunglasses were in the center console, but as she reached for them, her fingers brushed against something else, a small velvet box tucked beneath the seat. Her heart raced. Was it a ring? Were her suspicions completely off base? With trembling fingers, she opened the box, but instead of an engagement ring, she found a delicate silver necklace with a teardrop-shaped emerald pendant. It was beautiful and expensive-looking, and it wasn't something she'd ever seen before, nor was it her birthstone. She carefully returned the necklace to its hiding place, her mind racing. Was it a surprise gift for her? But their anniversary was months away, and her birthday had just passed. And if it was for her, why hide it in the car? As she walked back to their apartment, another possibility formed, one she tried desperately to push away. 3 days passed, and the necklace remained hidden in Jason's car. 3 days of Samantha checking his location on her phone, of watching for changes in his routine, of telling herself she was being paranoid. Then Thursday came, and Jason announced he had to work late. "Big client presentation tomorrow," he explained, kissing her forehead. "Don't wait up." Samantha smiled and wished him luck, but as soon as the door closed, she grabbed her keys and phone. She'd checked his calendar that morning. There was no presentation scheduled. She followed his car at a distance, feeling like a character in a bad movie. Jason drove past his office building, continuing to a part of town they rarely visited, finally parking outside an upscale restaurant. Samantha parked across the street, her heart hammering as she watched him check his reflection in the car window before heading inside. Through the restaurant's large windows, she could see him being led to a table where someone was already waiting. A woman with her back to the window. A woman with blonde hair. Samantha couldn't see her face, but she watched as Jason sat down, his expression lighting up in a way she hadn't seen in months. She watched as he reached across the table, taking the woman's hand, his thumb stroking her wrist in the exact way he used to touch Samantha when they first started dating. She wanted to rush inside to confront them both, but something held her back. She needed to be sure. She needed to see the woman's face. But a passing bus momentarily blocked her view, and when it passed, Jason and his companion had moved to a table further inside, out of sight from the street. Samantha drove home in a daze, tears blurring her vision. She still hadn't confirmed who the woman was, but deep down, she already knew. Samantha spent Friday in a fog, going through the motions at work while checking her phone compulsively. Jason had come home late the night before, claiming the presentation prep had taken longer than expected. He smelled of unfamiliar perfume. During her lunch break, she scrolled mindlessly through Instagram, trying to distract herself. That's when she saw it, Chloe's latest post from just an hour ago. A selfie at her desk, captioned "Friday vibes" with a coffee cup emoji. But it wasn't the caption that made Samantha's blood run cold. It was the necklace glinting at Chloe's throat, a silver chain with an emerald teardrop pendant. The exact necklace she'd found in Jason's car. Samantha zoomed in on the image, hoping she was mistaken. But there was no doubt, the unique setting around the emerald, the delicate silver chain. Her best friend was wearing a gift from her boyfriend. With shaking hands, she took a screenshot and then continued scrolling through Chloe's recent posts. There were no previous photos with the necklace. It was new. Everything suddenly clicked into terrible focus. Jason's late-night texting, Chloe's nervousness, the secretive dinner. 2 people she trusted most in the world were betraying her. But she needed absolute proof before confronting them. She needed something they couldn't deny or explain away. "I'm thinking of surprising Jason with a weekend trip to the mountains," Samantha said casually, watching Chloe's reaction over Sunday brunch. They were seated at their regular cafe, 2 days after Samantha had discovered the necklace in Chloe's Instagram post. She'd spent those 48 hours cycling through anger, disbelief, and a bone-deep sadness that threatened to consume her. But now she had a plan. Chloe looked up from her avocado toast, her expression carefully neutral. "That sounds nice. When were you thinking?" Next weekend. Friday through Sunday. He's been working so hard lately, I think he needs a break. Something flickered across Chloe's face. Calculation. Oh, that's a shame, she said finally. I was going to invite you both to this wine tasting event on Saturday night, but the mountain trip sounds more special. What wine tasting? Samantha asked, maintaining her innocent expression. Chloe waved her hand dismissively. Just this thing my company's sponsoring. Not important. Tell me more about this mountain trip. Samantha noted how carefully Chloe avoided touching the emerald necklace she was wearing again today, how she kept steering the conversation back to the fictional trip's details. That evening, as if on cue, Jason announced he might have to work late next Saturday. Big deadline, he explained, not quite meeting her eyes. That's too bad, Samantha replied, her heart breaking even as her suspicions were confirmed. I was hoping we could do something special. Maybe Sunday instead, he offered, already turning his attention back to his phone. There was no wine tasting. There was no work deadline. But there was definitely a plan for Jason and Chloe to meet on Saturday night, a night they thought Samantha would be busy planning a surprise trip that didn't exist. Trap was a C. Wednesday night, Samantha was cooking dinner when her phone chimed with a message from Jason. Can't wait to see you Saturday night. I'll bring the wine, you just bring yourself. Miss the way your skin feels. A second message followed immediately. Shit. Sam, I am so sorry. That was meant for Mike. We have this inside joke. But Samantha wasn't reading anymore. The phone slipped from her fingers, clattering onto the kitchen counter as a strange calm settled over her. The final proof had literally fallen into her lap. She picked up the phone again, scrolling through her messages with Jason. How many of these casual texts, working late, meeting with clients, grabbing drinks with Mike, had been lies? As if summoned by her thoughts, another message appeared. Sam? Please call me. I can explain. She turned off the stove, the pasta half-cooked, and sat at the kitchen table. With methodical precision, she took screenshots of the messages, then of Chloe's Instagram posts wearing the necklace, adding them to the growing folder of evidence on her phone. Then she called Jason. It was meant for Chloe, wasn't it? She asked when he answered, her voice steady despite the hurricane raging inside her. The silence on the other end was all the confirmation she needed. How long? She asked. Jason's voice was barely audible. Sam, please, can we talk about this in person? How? Long, shaky exhale. 5 months. 5 months. Almost half a year of lies. Of watching them pretend, of being made a fool. I'll be at Chloe's apartment at noon tomorrow, Samantha said. Both of you be there. She hung up before he could respond, before her composure could crack. Then she packed an overnight bag and called a rideshare. She couldn't stay in their apartment, surrounded by photos of happier times, of a relationship that now seemed like an elaborate fantasy. As the car pulled away, her phone lit up with messages from both of them, pleas, excuses, apologies. She turned it off without reading them. Chloe's apartment door opened before Samantha could knock. Her best friend stood there, eyes red-rimmed, hair pulled back in a messy bun, the emerald necklace conspicuously absent from her throat. Sam, please, this isn't what you think, Chloe began, reaching for her hand. Samantha stepped past her into the apartment, where Jason sat on the couch, head in his hands. The sight of them together in this intimate setting, Chloe's home, made bile rise in her throat. Isn't what I think, Samantha repeated, her voice dangerously calm. So, you're not sleeping with my boyfriend? That message wasn't meant for you? That's not the necklace I found hidden in his car. She pointed to Chloe's jewelry box on the coffee table, its lid open, the emerald pendant visible inside. It was a mistake, Chloe said, tears spilling down her cheeks. A terrible mistake that just happened. Affairs don't just happen, Chloe. They're choices. Hundreds of small, selfish choices. It didn't mean anything, Chloe insisted. It was just physical. We were going to end it. Stop lying. Samantha's composure finally cracked. 5 months isn't a mistake. Secret dinners and planned meetings while I'm supposedly away isn't just physical. The necklace isn't nothing. The necklace was a birthday gift, Chloe said quickly. Just a friend giving another friend a birthday gift. Samantha laughed, the sound hollow. Your birthday is in October. It's April. I meant stop. Just stop. Samantha turned to Jason, who had yet to speak. Do you have anything to say? Any explanation for why you've been cheating on me with my best friend for nearly half a year? Jason finally looked up, his expression a mixture of shame and defiance. I never meant to hurt you, Sam. That's not an explanation. That's a greeting card sentiment. The room fell silent, the weight of betrayal hanging heavy in the air. You've been distant, Jason finally said, his voice quiet but with an undercurrent of accusation. Ever since your promotion, it's like you're never really present, even when you're home. I needed someone who was actually there. Samantha stared at him in disbelief. I got promoted and suddenly I'm to blame for you cheating? It's not that simple, he continued, gaining confidence as he spoke. We barely talked anymore. You were always tired or working or checking your emails. When was the last time we actually connected? I felt like a roommate, not a boyfriend. So instead of talking to me about it, you decided to sleep with my best friend? Jason ran a hand through his hair, frustration evident. I tried talking to you, but you were always too busy, too stressed. Chloe understood. She listened. Well, I was working overtime to save for the future we planned together, Samantha said, her voice breaking. The house we talked about buying. The trip to Japan you always wanted to take. I didn't want things, Jason said. I wanted you. The real you, not the constantly exhausted, distracted version that came home to me every night. The injustice of his words hit her like a physical blow. She had been working hard for them, for their future. And he had repaid her by seeking comfort in her best friend's arms, then blaming her for it. If you were unhappy, you could have ended things, she said quietly. You didn't have to destroy me in the process. Jason looked away. I still love you, Sam. This thing with Chloe just happened. There's that phrase again, Samantha said bitterly. Just happened. As if you both tripped and fell into an affair. You've always had everything, Sam, Chloe said suddenly, her voice small but clear. Perfect job, the perfect boyfriend, the perfect life. Do you know what it's like to always be the sidekick in your own life story? To always be Samantha's friend, Chloe? Samantha turned to her, stunned by the resentment in her voice. You're jealous? That's your justification. It's not jealousy, Chloe insisted. I don't know. I've watched you effortlessly succeed at everything while I struggle. Then Jason and I started talking about you, about how you'd changed, and suddenly we were the ones connecting. So, this is some kind of revenge? Samantha asked. For having a career you think I didn't earn? For having a boyfriend you decided you deserved more? No, I didn't plan this. We would meet for coffee to talk about how to help you balance work and life better. We were worried about you. Samantha laughed bitterly. How considerate of you both. It wasn't like that, Chloe protested. We genuinely cared. But then one night after a few drinks... Spare me the details, Samantha interrupted. What I don't understand is why continue the charade? Why keep pretending to be my friend? My loyal boyfriend? Why not just come clean? We were trying to find the right time, Jason said. We didn't want to hurt you. Bullshit, Samantha said, her voice ice cold. You didn't want to deal with the consequences. You wanted to have your cake and eat it too, keep me in the dark while you two played out your little romance. Chloe stepped forward, tears streaming down her face. Sam, please. You're my best friend. We can get past this. Samantha looked between them, the two people she had trusted most in the world, and felt nothing but a vast, empty space where love and friendship had once lived. Samantha stood in the middle of Chloe's living room, studying the faces of her boyfriend and best friend. They were strangers to her now, these people who had conspired behind her back, who had shared intimate moments while looking her in the eye and pretending nothing had changed. I came here thinking I needed to hear your explanations, she said finally. That I needed to understand why you did this. But standing here now, I realize it doesn't matter. Sam, Jason began, but she held up her hand. No, I'm done listening to excuses. The truth is, this isn't about me being distant or you feeling overlooked or some misguided attempt to help me. This is about two people who made selfish choices and are now trying to justify them. She turned to Chloe. You weren't my sidekick. You were my sister, the family I chose. I would have done anything for you. To Jason, she said, and you. If you were unhappy, you should have said so. We could have worked on it or ended things cleanly. Instead, you chose deception. What happens now? Chloe asked, her voice small. Samantha took a deep breath. Now I leave. Jason, I'll arrange to have my things moved out of the apartment by the end of the week. You can keep it, I can't live there anymore anyway. And us, Chloe whispered. There is no us, Chloe. Not anymore. Samantha walked to the door, pausing with her hand on the knob. You know what hurts the most? Not the betrayal itself, but the realization that neither of you ever really knew me. If you had, you'd have known I would have forgiven almost anything except lies. She stepped into the hallway, closing the door behind her on their protests and apologies. With each step away from Chloe's apartment, she felt both heavier with grief and somehow lighter, unburdened from the weight of false relationships. Sighed, the spring air felt clean in her lungs. She had lost a boyfriend and a best friend today, but as she walked down the street alone, Samantha realized she had gained something too, a certainty about her own worth, a clarity about the kind of love and friendship she deserved. She would trust again someday, but not blindly. Never blindly again. Tears would come later, she knew. The anger and grief would have their time. But for now, walking away was enough, the first step on a path that was entirely her own.
Thank you for watching. If you liked the story, like, subscribe to the channel and share with your friends. Thank you.